Welcome to the sixth in a series of 9 debates before the 2012 presidential election. Today's debate will focus on the Middle East and the plans the candidates have to prevent disaster. The candidates are Barack Obama for the Democratic Party, Mitt Romney for the Republican Party, and Michelle Bachmann, who claims that God instructed her to run as an independent. The Middle East is inherently unstable, but this has increased in recent years with Iran's nuclear ambition. One of the men on stage today will be tasked with resolving the crisis.
And women.
Sure. Barack Obama. You've been president for almost 4 years now. What have you done to resolve conflict in the Middle East and deal with threats our country faces from those regimes?
Well, as you know, my administration has an excellent track record with regard to foreign policy. We eliminated Osama bin Laden, destroyed Colonel Gaddafi, and are focused on Syria. I think we have an excellent chance of eliminating the terrorist threat caused by my predecessor.
Are you suggesting that terrorism was caused by President Bush?
I think you're putting words in my mouth there. Terrorism has always been a threat to us.
What have you done specifically to improve stability in the Middle East? How have you worked with the Israelis and Palestinians to improve relations between those two peoples?
I think Israel and Palestine have mostly settled their differences now that a wall has been constructed between those two countries.
So you don't intend to involve the United States further?
The USA is always standing by to render assistance, of course, but I think they've achieved a state of peaceful coexistence which doesn't require any further action on our part.
What about Iran? Do you plan to take action to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons?
We're looking at the situation very closely and are prepared to act if the need arises.
At what point would you act against Iran then?
If it looks like Iran is building nuclear weapons, we will consider engaging in diplomacy with the Iranian government. Only after we've exhausted all other means of persuasion.
What does that mean? Engage in diplomacy after exhausting all other means of persuasion?
Well, we obviously don't want to intimidate a country which has nuclear weapons.
This is insanity.
You'll be given an opportunity to rebut, Governor. Please wait your turn.
But it's insane. He wants to wait until Iran has nuclear weapons before he even starts negotiating with them.
And you'll have an opportunity to offer your own ideas. Right now, Mr. Obama is offering his.
But they're insane.
Am I allowed to use the restroom?
Please wait until the break.
But I think someone put a laxative in my coffee.
Why would anyone put a laxative in your coffee? You already have a 0% chance of being president.
What?
Mr. Obama, do you feel that instability in the Middle East could impact oil production and shipments, and do you have a contingency plan if that scenario plays out?
I think we have to take a cue from the oil-producing nations. If oil production is affected, we can offer them incentives to increase production.
What kind of incentives?
For example, we could offer to reduce the restrictions we'd place on Iran in exchange for a higher rate of oil production.
There you go again.
Mr. Romney, I don't want to have to warn you again.
But he wants to give Iran special favors.
All right. Fine. Let's discuss your ideas.
Did I win?
No, we're going to discuss Mitt Romney's plan. We'll be back shortly. We're back. Mitt Romney, you're clearly critical of the president's Middle East policy. How would you handle things differently?
Well, the first thing we need to do.
Where is Michelle Bachmann? Can someone please find out where Michelle Bachmann went?
I think she went to the restroom.
Well, we can't wait for her. Continue, Governor.
As I was saying, the first thing we need to do is protect Israel's interests in the Middle East. We need to provide as much support for Israel as we can. There are many dangerous regimes in the region who would like nothing more than to see Israel wiped off the map. We have to make sure they don't get that opportunity.
Who do you believe poses the greatest threat to Israel in the Middle East?
Iran is currently the greatest threat facing Israel. We need to move now to destroy their ability to build nuclear weapons which could threaten Israel's borders.
If you were elected president, how long would you work diplomatically with Iran before you consider taking military action?
I would take military action on day one. We cannot afford to wait any longer. It's clear that diplomacy has failed and Iran needs to be stopped immediately.
What makes you so sure of that?
The intelligence reports I've seen are very clear. Iran is only 6 days away from building nuclear weapons. We have to protect Israel and the Mormons who live there at all costs.
I wasn't aware there were Mormons living in Israel.
All Jews are actually Mormons. We are the same people. That's why in my church we baptize dead Israelis so they can join us in heaven for eternity.
What a horribly offensive thing to say. You're sure to lose the election now, Governor.
Bet you $10 million I won't.
Michelle Bachmann, you're back. What are your plans for the Middle East if you're elected president? Do you share Mitt Romney's concern over Iran?
Sorry, I missed Governor Romney's answer. Can you repeat it?
No, you'll have to watch it when you get home.
But I forgot to set my TiVo to record this.
It's not my fault that you weren't here to listen to his answer. Please describe your plans for the Middle East.
Well, I think the Middle East is a huge problem, and we need to do something about it.
Can you be more specific?
We need to bomb Iran before they bomb us, and then we need to bomb Syria and Egypt because they're training terrorists who want to destroy America and Israel.
What evidence do you have that Egypt is sponsoring terrorism?
There's evidence all over the place. We need to bomb them before our country is attacked again, and before they have an opportunity to destroy Israel.
What is your attitude toward the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? Do you believe the United States should be more actively involved in forging peaceful relations there?
Well, no. We need to bomb the Palestinians. They're terrorists. They attack Israel on a daily basis. They have no legitimate claim to that land, no reason to be there at all.
If you really intend to commit troops to all these countries, do you believe the resources exist to wage and fund multiple conflicts? Remember how thin troops were spread in Iraq.
The defense of our borders and those of Israel are our highest priorities. As president, I will increase defense spending tenfold, and participation by a similar figure.
How do you intend to fund such a drastic increase in defense spending?
We can increase our revenue by cutting wasteful spending elsewhere, like the social programs and welfare participation which have exploded under President Obama.
Defense spending currently accounts for 20% of the national budget. If you increase it tenfold, wouldn't you be spending twice the GDP before taking into account other spending?
I think your figures are incorrect. Obama has gutted our nation's defenses. My funding increases will bring them back up to a more reasonable level.
Actually, I've done no such thing. Defense spending has remained static under my presidency.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
President Obama, do you support a decrease in defense spending?
I believe the defense budget can be spent more efficiently. Over time, that will reduce the need for us to have a large spending budget.
Governor Romney, what is your position on defense spending?
America faces threats from countries all over the world. We rely on a strong defense to keep us safe from those who wish America harm. I support an increased defense budget.
Presumably not a tenfold increase like Michelle Bachmann is proposing.
No, I think a more reasonable figure would be something like 50%.
Where do you stand on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict?
I think we have to look at the situation and ask what would be best for Israel. If the Palestinians aren't willing to be reasonable, then we have to look at other options for them.
What kind of options?
Perhaps moving them somewhere else.
I'd like to ask each candidate to make their closing statements, starting with Michelle Bachmann.
This is a crucial election. The choice you face as Americans couldn't be more important. America needs a strong leader, someone who can keep America safe and protect us from harm. Someone who God has chosen to be president and will guide in their duty as leader of the free world. I will be that leader if I'm fortunate enough to be elected as your president.
Mitt Romney, your closing statement please.
President Obama has had 4 years to turn the economy around and he's failed. He's had 4 years to stand up to Iran and he's failed. Today people are worse off than before. His election was an historic occasion for America, but his legacy is one of failure. It's time to let someone with experience and financial knowledge lead. I will be that leader.
Barack Obama, your closing statement.
Over the past 4 years, I've saved the economy, and I've stood up to Iran. In my second term I will restore American prosperity. I'll offer change we can all believe in.
Change is all they'll have left.